So this is what the ram looks like on a Rockwell vertical mill. This is a little job I'm doing for a friend of mine. Normally this would have a flange on the front of this to accept the vertical mill spindle. And what the plan is at this point is to face this off, get this all cleaned up, and get to the point where this can be mounted on the ram, and then this here flange is identical to some of the work that I've done for him on the M Head, mounting of the M Head on a horizontal mill. So I haven't decided whether made the pattern so that we could put a T-slot in here. I haven't decided if I'm actually going to do the T-slot or just put the 4 bolts, 4 holes for the M Head, Bridgeport M Head, because this will be a clamp feature here with a saw cut, and with this clamp feature you'll be able to tip the head by rotating this on the ram. And so that's pretty much how it comes from the foundry. I put a core in the middle. So we got to open this up to 3 1/8, and just going to chuck this in the forejaw, get it trued up to the casting, and then punch a hole in here. I may do a little bit of relief in the center so it's only clamping in the front and in the back here. I haven't figured that out just yet, but yeah, it's a little project on the go right now. So pretty close on size at this point, and I don't want to overshoot. Even though it is going to be a clamp system, I do want to be close. So by measurement now, with my final pass here, I'm about 2 thou under. Just wanted to check the ram itself. Yeah, it feels like it wants to start, but no go. So that's that was one more pass, and that's a nice slip fit in there. And actually, that's not clamped. It's just sitting in there, and that's running pretty true. Stretching the boundaries of the machine today, working at the other end here. This is that ram for the Rockwell. We're going to mount the M head on this end here. So I just want to face this off, put a chamfer slash radius on this end here so that adapter can fit on there fairly simple. And then just do a little polishing on this as well. Really, I don't want to take any material off, just kind of clean it up. Off camera here, I finished this back face off. I took a little bit more off of it. I want to have this as tight as possible, or as narrow as possible, to make sure we have a good working envelope on the mill. And right now the plan on this end is there's enough casting here to put a T-slot in, but kind of change the plan there because we can adjust the tilt of the head here or with the ram itself. So we got lots of degrees of freedom for that tilting of the head. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to rough this face in now. Once I do the saw cut and the clamp feature here, I'm going to put it back on the ram and face this off while this is on the ram, so I get a perpendicular face to the ram. So right now we're just going to rough this in, take some material off here, and rough qualify the bore for the M head. Actually, that's that ends up being a boss. The mating bore is actually in the M head. So I've got this face here within about 60 thou. And we're just going to leave that there for final finish once we clamp this on the ram. And this is the boss for the M head to fit. I just got one more pass to do there. I am going to qualify this bore here. Just get it something nominal for, you know, anything in the future. So I thought I would show my setup here for this clamp feature here, which I think I had it at a 1/2 inch 13 thread socket headed cap screw, and I want to do that while it's all solid. I don't have a milling machine running at this point, so I'm setting up for drill press, which, you know what, it's drilling and tapping and putting a counterbore in for a clamp screw, which should be plenty accurate enough. But what I do need to do is set up so that I'm drilling perpendicular to this face here, and I thought I would just show how I was going to do that. I just a couple of squares, and this is the Bridgeport table eventually, which I will be able to use as a, I wouldn't call it a master reference, but at least as a reference. And not sure if that shows up. Probably not. There's a small gap at the top right up here, which means I got to rotate this thing just slightly towards me. So I'm going to fine tune that in, and then once I have that, then my plan was I'll use the I use these machinist jacks. I'll use the machinist jack just to support the boss that I'm not working on. So if I'm drilling and tapping this one here, I'll support this one, and then vice versa. And then I'm going to put one in the back. I'll clamp this angle plate to the drill press table, and yeah, I should have enough room there. So we'll give it a whirl, see what we get. Just thought I would show this. I got it dialed one attempt, and I'm pretty happy here. We're going to be going for it. Yeah, you can see that there. Actually, you know what? It still looks like it can come a little bit more. Yep, just a bit more. There's still just a little bit of a gap up there. Let me check this other boss. Yeah, it's about the same. Actually, paying attention while I'm watching videos on YouTube is paying off here. I decided, you know what, I might as well put this machinist jack underneath of this boss, and I just took a little bit of pressure off the clamp, and I was able to use the screw jack there to get that thing lined up. So it's clamped up good and solid, and now we just got to drill and tap a couple of holes. So this is the setup I chose to use here, and I think it's going to work out pretty good. I've run the center drill down in here, and got all my different drill sizes ready to go, counterbore size ready to go, and I'm going to go to 1/2 inch 13 right now on this thing, and yeah, I think it's going to be good. So the next thing I wanted to do on this, now that I got these drilled and tapped here, I want to put a relief hole or a stress relief hole here, so that when I slice this, I'm not at a sharp corner up in here, so I'm going to drill. I haven't decided on the size of the hole yet, but probably at least a quarter, maybe even 5/16 or something like that. And the pocket inside, just rough getting the depth on that. Looks like it's going to work out good. The pocket actually goes in almost to that flange. I've taken this thing down as narrow as I can here. So I'm going to drill a hole right dead center between the flange and this boss, and then I'll only slit it that far. So I just use this bolt threaded in here just to rough a line so I can get a vertical hole down here at the parting line. The parting line, I can see it here. So I've just lined up by eye on that, and I'm going to do the same thing with the saw, just cut through there, and I'm going to leave it set up on the angle plate the way it is now and put it on the horizontal mill and slice that. But for now we got to so I wanted to make sure that I took the center drill down in there far enough so that as it drilled through with the actual drill, I don't want any side loading because of the radiuses, the fillets in the casting here. So it's a little bit more on the one side, but that's going to give me enough room to get a drill down in there and get that opened up. So I was able to get this thing sliced. It was a little bit of work because of the depth here to get the saw through everywhere down to the relief hole there, and I just got a couple of bolts in there now, but eventually that'll be socket-headed cap screws going through there. And just finishing up a temporary arbor. To mount this in the lathe. So this is the turning arbor that the temporary arbor that I made. I didn't want to set up the entire ram. I would have to run it in the chuck here. I'd have to have it in the steady rest out here, and I thought this was actually better. This was a chunk of steel that I had laying around. It was pretty close. I just had to take 1/8 of an inch off the diameter. I did bore the back end out so that I could use the inside jaws. And so I got that just a couple of thou under 3 1/8. The bore is a couple of thou over, and right now I'm going to use these 2 bolts. They'll eventually be socket-headed cap screws. So I'm going to clamp this on that arbor, and then I'm going to face this so it's perpendicular to that bore. So with the adapter now machined, so this face here is perpendicular to the bore that's going to clamp around the ram on the Rockwell, and I've got it set up standing straight up right now, and I've got an M head here on top of it, and I'm just going to transfer punch those bolt hole locations. It's piloted on the bore that's in the back of the M head, which is a 2-inch bore, and this is going to be a bolt through, so tapped hole clearance / accuracy required here, so that's all we're going to do. And we're going to drill and tap 4 holes in there. And that appears to be, yeah, that's lining up nice with the heavy part of the casting there. So we should be able to drill through that fairly simply. And so there it is, 4 holes. Got the 2 clamp holes. The bore is 3 1/8, maybe a couple thou big. This face here was cut on a off of a mandrel from the center bore, so this is good and perpendicular to the bore, and ready to go.